Like and subscribe in the next 5 seconds, or this will be in your bed tonight. What's the saddest, lamest thing you've ever done to fit in? Said I was born in Connecticut in kindergarten when we were making a map of where everyone was born because all the cool kids were born out of state. My mom ended up ratting me out at parent-teacher conferences. Duck Connecticut. Even as a CT native, I can agree with your Duck Connecticut sentiments. Especially as a CT native. Too much snow right now. When I was 14 I was so paranoid about being perceived as geeky that I would revise all of my texts to include misspellings and MySpace era chat speak. Once, I accidentally hit send on the unedited version and in a blind panic immediately followed up with a correction text replacing all the words with their L33TSP34K equivalent. Someone messaged the chat with WTF lol and I hid in the bathroom at lunch for a week. Yeah, that's literally just overthinking shit to the max. When someone says crippling anxiety, this is the scenario I think of. Hopefully OP has gotten better. When I was 8 I bought Yu-Gi-Oh cards with my birthday money and the next day the kids in my neighborhood stopped playing. You activated their trap card. Dude, this happened me too. The one day I bring my deck into school to play, everyone loses interest. When I was around 12 years old I was bullied. At one point I thought my bullies would stop bullying me if I joined them. So one day they started bullying this other kid. This was one of the nicest kids in class. After a few minutes I saw the tears in his eyes and realized that I've been in his position daily, and I stopped on the spot. I felt like a jerk, and get ashamed when I think about it. In 6th grade, I was picked on a lot, so one time, everyone is picking on this girl, and I join in. Turns out, people were picking on her because she liked me. Ouch. Pretended to be a brony. Don't ask cause it was a dark part of my life. You win. I mean, there is being a brony, then there is pretending to be one. Cut off a chunk of a puzzle piece. Why? To fit it in. 2 things I did in high school. I tried running for school president against the most popular kids in the school and putting up a bunch of posters. I got 3 votes. Total. From my tiny friend group. I love them. I tried out for the basketball team. Me. A 5'7", 5'8"-ish nerdy skinny dude who was even nerdier and even skinnier back then. Against a bunch of super tall athletic guys who have been playing basketball since forever. I was gasping for dear life and puking after every drill. I didn't make even the first cut for JV. Oh man. I just remembered my sophomore year of high school. My Spanish teacher was part of the school's Gov committee and thought I would be a good candidate for class president. I was too shy to say that I wanted to. I mean, I had okay ideas, but way too shy to say that no. I actually really didn't want the responsibility. My name went on the ballot. My friend made some posters for me that were just sorta funny. 4 out of 4 hobbits agree. But I had no actual idea of doing this. I somehow got 23 votes. Total, out of a class of 500 plus students. Random people would approach me in the hallway and say they voted for me because they just didn't like the popular kids. And too late I realized I totally could have tried the underdog thing. Missed the chance. But I cringe way too hard thinking about being involved in the first place. I will be the best class president. The current establishment is corrupt. I will drain the swamp of these popular kids. It will be tremendous. We will make the school great again. The school paper is fake news. They are just trying to be in with the popular kids. We are not winning at sports. We need to win at sports. The other schools are winning. We can't have that. We need to build a great big gym. HUUUGE. We need to start winning. Begged my mom to buy me etnies, the skateboarding shoes. WHRN I was 10. She finally did, but I broke down crying and begged her to take them back once I learned they were $40. 40 for shoes is extremely cheap yo. Look at Richie Rich here paying $40 for shoes. Deny playing World of Warcraft. Truly I tell you, not chanced. This very night, before the creeper crows, you will disown me 3 times. Before the creeper blows. Fixed that for you edit. Formatting. I licked a brick wall once when I was 5 because I wanted to be in my friend's older brother's gang. The next day the headmistress gave an assembly on peer pressure. By older, you mean he was a badass 8-year-old? You should mock him for thinking an 8-year-old could have a gang. I think he was 10 and it was like him and 2 other 10-year-olds if I remember. So it was less a gang and more a 3 10-year-olds that hung out behind the school hedge. Lied that I was half Japanese so that I wouldn't be ridiculed for liking anime. Edit. I don't even like anime that much anymore. I just didn't like people saying I'm weird for liking anime because of my race. Only to be ridiculed by all the Japanese people for liking anime. I don't think Japan ridicules people for liking anime. I think Japan ridicules people who make anime their entire life and personality, just like any other country with any other hobby. Emo phase. Was not allowed to do the hair or makeup stuff, though. So, yeah. Considering me and my BF were both emo at one point, I'm absolutely hyped that any child we might have will be some sort of teenage rebel, and you bet your ass I'm gonna let them wear the stupid shit, if anything, to take pictures of them for later in life. But if you allowed them, wouldn't they not be a rebel? Listen to country music. That's rough, man. I am sorry you had to go through that. I still hear it from time to time. It haunts me. In 7th grade, 1997, JNCO jeans were all the rage. I wanted to fit in but I didn't want to be a sellout and wear JNCOs. So, skinny little me who normally wore size 28 waist pants got a pair of size 48 brown corduroy pants from Goodwill and wore those instead. Got made fun of less, somehow. Can't make fun of the autistic kid, you know. How did your pants not fall off? They sound huge. I cut a Nike logo out of a shirt and very shittily sewed it over the Fruit of the Loom logo on my school jacket. Everybody noticed immediately. That's cool though. Bought a skateboard. Till this day I still can't ride. I have a chin scar from a longboarding accident. Looked fresh as duck though. 10/11 would kick flip over a barrel of sharks and jellyfish again. Dance like crazy inside the big circle that they formed. Hahaha, we've all been there. It used to be one of my don't think of this right now because you're trying to fall asleep memories. Really up there. Top 25. But ever since I've lost all of my friends and started to go to the bar by myself, that memory has been bumped off the top 100. Smoking. My best friend is a smoker and always wanted me to come outside with her, so it would be a group of smokers and me. So I started with just a few puffs here and there, stopped after a while. Then I went to Paris for 4 months, picked it up again. Now I was buying my own pack and shit. Then one day it was raining and I was not about to get my weave wet. Last time I smoked a cigarette, I regret ever starting. I know that feel. I started smoking in high school because all the cool kids smoked during lunch breaks. I was so desperate to fit in and prove that I'm cool as well. Anyway, I have been smoking for next 6 years, quitting and returning to it. Currently, I'm a non-smoker, haven't had a cigarette in my mouth for 3 months and I definitely do not want to go back. Yay. It's been 2 years for me and I don't have the urge to at all. Only time I miss it is when I smell it on other people. I kinda like the smell of a person who just finished a cigarette. First week of college in the UK, and I hadn't really made any friends yet, and kind of just knew a couple of people from my classes in passing, as I was, and still am, quite reserved and shy, and didn't really know how to approach anyone. One afternoon I noticed it was quite busy out in the courtyard, and decided to make myself seem more interesting by running up a wall and then backflipping off of it. In retrospect, I'd give myself a 8/10 for spontaneity, but a 4/10 for execution, as I botched the landing and landed directly on my knees, splitting 2 large bloody denim holes, and only 3-4 people at most even saw me do it. One afternoon I noticed it was quite busy out in the courtyard, and decided to make myself seem more interesting by running up a wall and then backflipping off of it. I can't even begin to understand this line of reasoning, but I love it and I want to party with you forever. Man, this is physically painful to read, so awkward lol. It was difficult to fit in at first, so I lubed my whole body. Dad, duck off. Suffering anxiety attacks through smoking weed to fit in. Every ducking person I know smokes weed. I smoke a lot, multiple times daily, and honestly I wouldn't care if you said hey dude I don't like to smoke when we hung out. Not trying to be a dunt or anything, just some friendly advice. Problem is that pressure is there, even if you do your best to not apply it. It's kind of a fundamental part of being human, having that urge to join in, even if it's not the smart thing to do. I constantly did favors for people who I eventually realized only liked me cause I was a doormat. For a couple years there though I felt as if I was in the group. Wore those god awful juicy couture velour sweatsuits in middle school. Same. I remember really wanting the pants with juicy written across the butt, but luckily my mom drew the line there. I was 12 years old and weighed about 70 pounds. So juicy. Bleh. I think just reading that put me on a list. I went to some church where they released the demons from some kid and at one point everyone started speaking in tongues. I pretended to speak in tongues. I suspect everyone was. I've always wondered whether everyone is deliberately faking it to fit in, or if some people get so carried away in the moment that it's like a placebo effect and they genuinely believe they're possessed. Or maybe when we die we find out they were right all along. I'll be pissed if I end up in hell. Wasting money on Hollister, American Eagle and Abercrombie and Fitch. Holes in muggins. Hollister you can't see shit cause the lights are out. A&F has that boots and pants and butts and punts music so loud you can't think. A&F has that boots and pants and butts and punts music. They are trying to subliminally get you to buy boots and pants. This is an opposite story. I remember in 5th grade or early middle school, I was friends with these two girls. We'd gone to the mall together, courtesy of my mom, and done the usual shopping thing. I remember I bought a Paramore CD and while we were listening to it on the way home they started talking meanly about another girl in our class. I knew who she was and had never had anything bad to say about her. I just kept quiet the rest of the way after saying she's not mean, so what do you have against her? I ended up becoming best friends with that girl all through middle and high school. She was a ducking fantastic friend. I just wish I wasn't so freaking shy and anxious so I could work up the nerve to talk to try and reconnect over Facebook since it's been 5 years since we graduated. Literally just say hey how've you been, it doesn't cost anything to try and she's probably thought of you too. Don't let friendships wither away. Did this just last summer. Was totally worth it. Go message your lost friend. You will not regret. Became a taxi for my friends. This is a memory that still makes me cringe every time I remember. Though it's been almost a decade. Jeez, I feel old. It was at a family reunion. My mother's conservative, traditional values side of the family. The adults were talking about a beloved TV show. Little Aiden, thinking himself to be fairly savvy, blurted out his 2 cents worth. Poor, dumb me. Oh, yep, I love that show. Especially the episode where the guy eats all the kids' pudding. They were talking about Everybody Loves Raymond. I was referring to an episode of 2.5 Men I had seen on public television by accident. What? They said. What? I said. We're all talking English, but we're speaking different languages. Drugs. Edit to add. 3 months clean. Edit to add PT. 2. Thank you everyone. Wore oversized silver M&M pants in school. I'm a girl. We had a kid in school who would style his hair like Jimmy Neutron, and every time he would answer a question he would first yell brain blast, and the whole class would cringe. 13-year-old me was r/I am very smart material. Pretended to have a football player boyfriend in high school, and picking on nerdy kids in an attempt to fit in with the popular girls. It was always very uncomfortable hanging out with them because I felt like I needed to prove myself constantly. I'm a nerdy lesbian. School got much better once I just embraced that and sat with my brothers and sisters at the band geek art kid table at lunch. Tried to rock a faux hawk. I cut off the sleeves of my button-up shirts. This was back in 8th grade 0910. Me. Went to Awana and youth group for years and climbed to the top of Awana as the best verse reciter and one of the high-ranking members of our chapter. Even long after I in my heart of hearts stopped believing in Christianity. I didn't want to be shunned or lose the people I thought were my friends. My little sister pretended to like Hannah Montana for about a year so she could make friends and fit in with girls her age. She didn't actually like the show, but bought shirts, sneakers, backpacks etc. to have something to impress people at school church with. After that she became seen. Now she's a hippie. I rode my bike halfway down Killer Hill, Big sledding hill every small town has. I say halfway because that's about the time the bike started riding me down the hill instead. I fell ass over tea kettle the rest of the way down and ducked myself up. When I finally came to a stop, I ended up just picking up my bike and walking the couple blocks home so the other kids wouldn't see me cry. I was 24. Edit, just kidding, I was like 8. I miss the 80s. Bullying another classmate when I was 13. Bullies were the cool kids in class, and it was pretty much being with them, or being a laughing stock. My friend got beaten up by them, and I decided that I wasn't going to end up the same way, so I decided I should emulate them. Duck that. I still regret it, because there were still a-holes, and I made at least half a year of someone's life worse. I don't want anyone else to suffer the same fate as my classmate. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more interviews.